LinkedIn Live, and hello, Ryan Markman. So, Ryan is the CEO of Melior, and Ryan, you used to own an agency and you had an exit back in 22, correct?
Back in 2020.
2020, sorry. Back in 2020, you had an exit, and ever since then, you've been helping companies with AI, with consulting about processes and the right workflows. Really excited to have you on. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about you and what you do?
Yeah, thanks, Ed. Pumped to be back again. This was a lot of fun last time we spoke. As Zev mentioned, done a couple of different entrepreneurial things. So I was the COO of a marketing agency. Zev and I have some shared background there. Um, Run a couple of other startups, but really, back after we sold that agency in 2020, I've gotten very, very obsessed with AI. Back in the ancient days before ChatGPT, we were building some products with generative AI with GPT-3, and the last several years have been helping leading companies find the workflows in their business that AI can actually help with, and then implement those new workflows at scale in a way that is really focused on driving a measurable ROI impact in a matter of weeks and months, not a matter of years.
We have this conversation off air. We're both in the same space. You got out of the agency and went into AI. I'm still kind of dabbling in both, but we've seen an amazing increase in how much companies understand they need AI right now. Can you share a little bit kind of how you see it and how you see the market changing?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Last in 2023 and 2024, you would have a lot of conversations with executives who are interested in what AI could do for their business, but they didn't have a great sense of urgency. I felt a lot of times in conversations, an executive might be trying to convince themselves the whole time, like, we're doing enough, we're okay. And basically, since the start of the year, I think so many industries have seen companies that are getting a really, really meaningful impact from becoming more AI first, using AI in their day to day. And they see them taking share. They see them, in some cases, releasing publicly the ways that it's impacting their P&L. Klarna is a SaaS company that talks a lot about, hey, we did this implementation with AI into customer support, and it's giving us a $40 million net income impact partial year, the year that we launched it. We're using AI in our marketing, and we've cut spend while increasing production by over $10 million. So I think enough companies now are getting that sense of urgency and realizing, okay, wow, this is going to be transformative. If we don't start now, we're going to be behind and we're going to be in trouble. And I think now it's a really interesting time because with the advent of more agentic models and more agent-based products, we could probably have a fun side conversation about how overblown the word agent is and what it actually means. But people see things now that you tell it to do one thing and it can go and get stuff done for you, not just write text. It can search the web to research some information. It can then like produce output, rate which of its outputs best, go and build you a landing page. It can take multiple steps on its own. I think that's been a big mental unlock for people that, wow, it's in some cases as easy as just telling it what I need to do for the right use case, right? And that for the right use case and done properly is really important. There are still a lot of ways that you can try to use AI where it won't work very well. Not a magical hammer that fixes every problem, contrary to what you might hear sometimes. But that's a little bit of the state of the market. The only other thing I'll add is these CEO memos have become a big thing, right? So the Shopify CEO, Toby Lutke, was one of the first really publicized ones. The Duolingo CEO was another one where companies are saying, we are becoming AI first. Anytime you want to hire someone for a new role, you need to make the case on why you can't do that role with AI. It's a really common theme. And so you see that sense of urgency. And I think we could quibble about which ones were better, or which ones are worse, or which ones missed the boat. But I think constraints are incredibly powerful. And executive teams giving their teams constraints and then the tool of AI to figure out how they're going to operate in a constrained world where they have fewer resources, or maybe they have as many resources or more, but they now have to get twice as much done is that possible? If you create that constraint, can you actually do it? Or maybe you get the same amount done, but the quality is 100% higher. So yeah, that's some of what I'm seeing in the market. I'm curious, like, is it similar for you? How are you seeing it different?
So I'm seeing it very similarly, but I still see that the maturity level of companies out there is like almost non-existent. Even the companies that
100%.
create AI themselves, even the companies that
Yeah,
supposedly are AI companies, they don't have the right regulation and governance. And we're really behind in the US on regulations anyways. But what I
right.
see happening is people now understand they need a roadmap. Okay,
Yeah,
so if before it was like the wild wild west, everybody was trying to find a tool that would do something to help them, and data sovereignty was kind of out the window, and everything was just everybody was trying out, which was kind of level one, a lot of off the shelf tools. I think companies are understanding that they need a roadmap. That's what we're seeing. That's our number one product right now, is we give roadmap to companies of how to mature into AI, both on the technology side and on basically the governance side, the risk
yeah,
side. We work on GDRP type regulations because we don't have regulations yet. But we're seeing leaders wake up, but still, it's super early. Like, I think maturity levels in AI right now is maybe 1 to 2%. I'm sure
yeah,
it's not higher than 2%. So there's so many companies that are starting to understand it. They're starting to spend on it, but not always in the right ways. Sometimes
yeah,
there's a lot of shiny object syndrome going around, instead of understanding like where AI can mitigate risk for you, where AI can, get you some time back. And so we see more understanding in the market, but still, I think leaders don't understand AI enough. Like for you, the word agentic is being used so much. There's a lot of leading CEOs that don't understand the difference between an LLM and an agent. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Not that they need to, but they don't even know what the tools can do, if that makes sense.
yeah. One of the, yeah, totally agree. I mean, I think two things that stick out there. Number one, the you see a lot of situations that don't go really well of more disconnected executive teams who have not used the tools themselves, aren't sure of what's capable, but they're just still pushing their teams. Like, now you have to do everything, in a new way. And the end person who does the work, who actually is familiar with LLMs, is like, hey, this actually isn't where the value is. So no, that's totally right. I think, like, if you're an executive who's going to push real constraints around AI, you need to be well versed in what is possible here. You need to have someone on your team or externally that can help guide you there. Otherwise, if you're loudly shouting things that don't make sense, it's just going to erode credibility. Uh, the second thing on the LLM and agent side, um, one of the most common, I don't know if this has been for you, last month, probably one of the most consistent questions I've been asked is, how can I start building agents? And well, my question is, what are you trying to do? Because agents may or may not be the right way to do that. You might just need a little bit of automation and a few prompts to an AI model chained together. And there's no reason to go into the world of agents, which again, we don't have to go get into the ticky tacky definitions, but you see a lot of this, like, every problem looks like when you have a hammer, every problem looks like a nail, right? So people hear about agents, they think like, I need agents. Okay, well, what does your business actually need? What problem are you trying to solve? And maybe agents will help, maybe they won't.
Exactly. And that's where, that's exactly where we're seeing. And that's where we're giving roadmaps to companies instead of just giving agents.
Yeah,
I'll give you an interesting story. We're working with a 130-year-old company in the infrastructure business, and we did an evaluation for them. And we found some really interesting things. For instance, they work with legacy technology from the 90s, stuff that does not talk to one another. They have like literally like 100 hours per week of access double duty work. Now, those
well,
tools don't talk to one another. There's no APIs almost. So an agent is not going to be the right solution. So what we've
yeah,
done with them is we basically build their own Selenium bot. And then that Selenium bot actually sits on their system and talks between the legacy systems that can't speak. Now, it was cumbersome, but if you compare it to changing all their technology, it was a fraction of the
Yeah.
cost. And now they have their own AI built into their tech stack that actually does 100 hours of work from all of their people. Now, you also need to think about, if you're trying to get rid of people, I don't think that's the right idea. Empowering
Agreed.
people, letting the AI do what the AI does better than people, and then giving the people time to actually do their job better. That's where I see stuff going. I've
Agreed.
seen companies that cut off major, you know, a huge source of employees to bring AI in. Most of them are regretting it right now. It's
Yep.
not about cutting humans and putting AI. It's about empowering humans. You said doing twice as much and maybe 100% better. I think both are a
Yep.
possibility. You can do twice as much and get 100% better. I joke with my team that if somebody sucked out AI out of my life right now, I'll be lost, like literally
Yep.
lost. I don't know what I'll do without AI right now, because everything has a AI process in it, and everything has something that either saves me time or creates more revenue. And what we
Yep.
suggest to companies, and I'd love your take on it, is figure out something that's low risk and have a roadmap of how you're making that better. That usually kind of, the coin kind of sinks and people understand, wow, this can change everything. Imagine if you have an extra 100 hours, what you can do with that. Is that the same thing you find?
Yeah. I think it can be really powerful to start with something that you know is a really high chance of success, right? Because part of the question when we're working with an organization, it's not just go build, find the thing to build and build that one thing. It's also, we want to transform the way our team thinks and their literacy in using AI to solve problems. And so if you start with something that you're, maybe it's the third biggest opportunity from an ROI standpoint, maybe it's the fifth biggest, but it's the highest confidence that it's going to work and it's lower risk. And when you say risk, one of the things that I think of a lot in risk is what is getting to your end customer, right? So like a high risk implementation of AI is something where there's not a human in the loop and AI outputs are going directly in front of your customer. That's about as high risk as you can get, right? But if it's a more internal use case, you have heavy human oversight. It's something where the difference between a nine and a 9 and an 8 out of 10 in quality doesn't actually really matter that much as long as you're above an 8. Then it's really valuable. Then those can be good places to start, and then you can move to the thing that, like, okay, well, AI can help me get from a 6 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10. And to your point around efficiency and quality, we worked with a team of creative strategists, client facing team, and help them overhaul how they do concepting, uh, brief preparation, copy, kind of all of the work, the creative work before you go and shoot the asset or do the design work to create the asset. And we found that team was able to nearly double their capacity and improve the quality of their work. And so the way we tested that was we had art directors on the team, subject matter experts, review a bunch of outputs, some of which were from the traditional process, some of which were from the new AI assisted process. This is all client facing work that was presented to the clients and deemed good enough to be presented. And it was more than a 30% higher quality score from a 1 to 10 standpoint for the work in the AI assisted workflow that was much more efficient. And I think the other thing to keep in mind here is, like, we're talking about creative. Human ingenuity is critical. I am not suggesting that you should replace human creativity with AI. You should, to your point, use AI as an Iron Man suit that helps people do more better than say, like, okay, AI is going to come up with our ideas right now. That's AI can come up with some weird stuff that can push your brain and push you in new directions, which is cool. I think, like, there's this idea that AI is really um, is always going to be like really generic and straight down the middle. If you prompt it the right way and give it the right context, it can actually be way than humans, and that can be valuable. But again, human ingenuity is key.
100%. It's funny because, whichever AI you use, each AI speaks so different to the person that prompts
Yeah,
it. It like takes your personality in a way. For instance, like my incredible wife speaks very highly to an AI with high words, and like she feels like she needs to like bring out all the, you know, the explanation. The AI talks back to her like a professor in Oxford. My AI talks to me like one of my buddies because of the way I prompt it and the way I work with it. So she always thinks, "Oh my God, your AI is so cool compared to mine,"
Mm.
because it's just it knows what I'm looking for, and the more
Yeah.
the AI knows, the better. But let's kind of move in a really kind of hard left here to what we actually came to talk about:
Yeah.
valuation and AI. You and I see this a lot today. VCs, investors, they look for the AI connection. Okay, AI is where the money is by far. There are even companies that are getting, guys, up to 30x EBITDA if you're really
Yeah.
a good AI company. Now, what I teach my clients, and I would love to hear you on this, is if you actually build AI into your tech stack, if you build AI into your systems and don't use just a third party to process something, you're actually raising the valuation of the company. I've personally seen a company that took 6 months to bring in AI into their processes, but their own custom AI, their valuation was raised by 3x. Okay. And this was
Wow.
literally in 6 months. How do you see raising valuations for company using AI, and how do you help companies do that?
Yeah. So I think there's a couple of different levels to this to talk about. So one is early startup valuations that are less based on hard metrics. And then another bucket would be a more mid to late stage company. Maybe they're getting acquired by PE, maybe they're getting acquired by strategic. Um, and then the levers of how AI changes your valuation. The first one and the simplest one is AI can change your overall growth and profitability profile. So that's the easiest and most obvious, right? If your EBITDA margin expands from 20% to 27%, even if you were to keep the same multiple, that's going to have a huge impact on your valuation. And so when I talk to PE firms, this is the kind of stuff they're looking at. How do we get to the things that are going to make a financially measurable impact as quickly as possible? And I think there tends to be less of a focus on things that can pay dividends but are harder to measure. So like enabling AI note takers, really, really powerful. I could not operate without an AI note taker. But until you build that into workflows in really specific ways that will change a team's capacity, or change change the way you can grow, um, it's harder to make that investment and make that ROI case. So that's bucket number one. Bucket number two is more, I think, what you're talking about, Zev, of if your core technology leverages AI in a unique and novel way, then the multiple that you get for being a technology company could be pushed even higher because companies are seeing. I mean, OpenAI bought Windsurf, the company behind Windsurf, for $3 billion. It was more than 30. It was a 30x revenue multiple, for a company that has real revenue and real profitability, and I believe around a 75x EBITDA margin. Um, and we're talking about a $3 billion purchase. We're not talking about EBITDA that's $1 million a year, right? So those types of multiple expansions can be really powerful. I think the question you're going to get, is around, to what extent is what you're about? Do you have a unique data advantage, or you have a unique advantage? Because if your answer is we're using OpenAI's APIs as is, and we're just kind of spitting back the responses back to our users without doing a ton of workflow fine tuning, et cetera, on top of it, it's a little bit harder to defend um, your moat there and why you command a bigger valuation multiple. And then the third piece here is more operational. And this is especially for companies that are being looked at for strategic acquisition, be bought by another company in their space. Um, Back in, this is something Zeb, I think, will have an experience as well. 2010 to 2020, there were a ton of digitally native brands that were bought for the purpose of teaching a bigger company how to sell in a digitally native way, right? So companies that get acquired by P&G or Unilever with the idea that, like, okay, we're going to be good at essentially marketing, right? The direct to consumer acquisition and that channel. And I think you you're starting to see some things happen from an AI standpoint as well. So you might have a large marketing agency that acquires a smaller marketing agency because they have AI so built into their operations, and they want that know-how applied to the rest of their portfolio. And if they can do that, then they can improve financial results, and service their customers better. So those are the three levers that I see.
Love that. I'll take it one further. So I am definitely not talking about bringing ChatGPT into your systems, and by that
Oh,
you're
no.
like AI. So I'm talking about. I believe that there's going to be a dot AI, like a dot com burst, and that
Yeah,
burst is going to be a lot of these companies that say they are AI, but they're just piggybacking off something else that somebody else built and maybe adding one little layer to it to customize it for something. That's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking
yeah,
about is bringing custom AI into your processes, closing knowledge bases that are not part of the general, population knowledge base, but your own knowledge base, and then training an AI, bringing AI into a company more like an employee and less like a software, and having that AI know everything there is to know about your company, and then building agents on top of it that do all kinds of things. And the main way, AI is not a magic stick. This is something I want everybody to hear. AI use, and I'm digressing a little bit, but I always do. AI use is always good if you know what you're doing. So if you go into a company and they were able to create, X of success, now you can take AI and you can make it 5x of success. But if there is no success in the process, I don't think AI even belongs there. So if you
yeah,
don't know what to
yeah,
do, AI is not going to help you. But if you know really well what to do, AI can help you a lot. So let's talk about this, this company I just gave an example of. They're a blue collar infrastructure company. Okay, they now spent a few months and a few tens of thousands of dollars to build a selenium bot that basically knows exactly what their employees do, and now they mimic them, giving their employees literally 5x time to do other things that can generate money. Okay, so if you now have that company, and this is just a simple selenium bot, and this is just a simple example, but it's part of the system and it's
yeah,
owned by them. So now when somebody's looking to buy that infrastructure company, they're buying it with the AI in their tech stack. Now, you and I both know it's a simple Selenium bot, but yet 99.9% of companies don't do that, don't even know how to do it, don't even know it's possible. So you basically brought in and this is the smallest example, but an employee that does something, and now that company is literally twice more valuable for outside companies to purchase it, or
yeah.
to bring in some investors, but now they're way more valuable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that falls into the same bucket of, to the extent that AI changes your overall financial results, or operating profile, then that has a huge impact on your valuation, right? So in this case, it's totally changed the operating profile of the company. With their same team that they had 6 months ago, they can do so much more now, and that's going to be reflected in the valuation.
So I think there's a premium. So that's where I'm seeing in the VP world, there's a
Yeah,
big premium, not just by you get the valuation for that as well,
yeah,
but there's actually a premium for having a custom AI within your systems. Like
yeah,
when there's anything like that, you just get a lot more money from the market. But I agree with you completely. Now, can you tell us how you help companies? Can you share with us kind of examples of how Ryan and Melior help client with AI and AI strategy, AI workloads?
yeah, yeah, for sure. So the type of work that we do typically falls into one of two buckets. So bucket number one is what we call our AI task force service. And this is for companies that broadly are trying to transform the way that they work with AI on a more fundamental and tangible level. So they're trying to identify what are those workflows that will make the biggest difference for us, get to an AI powered solution as quickly as possible, and then empower their teams, um, to be using AI in a wide variety of tasks. Second way that we work with companies is or individual build based. So a company might say, we have this one specific problem. Can you help us build an AI powered tool to solve that problem? And that could even take the form of building a customer facing product for that company or expanding the existing product that they have today. Um, as far as the AI task force, we call it the AI task force because we're essentially acting as or accelerating the AI task force or AI council in an organization with this service. And so we'll start with a discovery and road mapping phase, similar to what it sounds like you do a lot of road mapping work too, Zev, where we're going to map out the highest ROI, most important workflows of the business. And then we're going to against that map what AI can actually help with and what's the ease of implementation to getting there. Then we'll come out of that with a prioritized list of opportunities. And then we go into 2 to 3 month build cycles, usually doing 2 workflows at a time. And we'll look at opportunities where, hey, there's an off the shelf tool your team can be using. We got to get the process right, get them trained up, get the prompting right, get the right data in there. We'll also look at opportunities where it requires a more custom build or custom software development. And then as far as what those results look like and what some of our success stories look like, I mentioned the example of marketing agency that was able to near double capacity of one of their client facing teams and change the overall margin profile. We do a lot of work in whatever your core service or product is. Can we do that at a much higher quality in a measurable way or much more efficiently? Another example there would be working with an influencer marketing team and helping them dramatically change how they identify influencers, how they evaluate them, saving a ton of human time that ultimately expands capacity. The other big bucket where we most commonly work is in helping that company grow. And so sales and marketing workflows, I know Seb, you do a lot in this area as well. A lot of really good opportunities to use AI. And I'm not talking about more spam. What I'm talking about is we work with a company that has a pretty lean sales team and using AI to replicate the thing that their team manually does, where someone goes to a soul cycle class, they see a drink, they buy it, they try it, they really like it, they take a picture of themselves with it, they reach out to the company and be like, hey, I love this stuff. By the way, this is what we do, but I just wanted to get connected. So the really high touch research driven work that AI can do, the work that might take an account executive a few hours of research to understand, is this company a good prospect for us? Why are they a good prospect? What exactly should we say to them? There's a lot of great stuff in that. So that particular sales team, we helped double the output in terms of business that they were bringing in using AI workflows. So a couple of examples there. I'll stop so I don't drone on
No,
it.
I love it. I think examples is what the market needs to hear. And how does somebody reach out to you, and how does somebody, you know, figure out whether, you're a good fit for them?
Yeah, so our website, right under my name here, is getmelior.com, getmelior.com. You can book a call directly on our website. You can also follow me on LinkedIn, Ryan Markman, and right here, and reach out to me. Always happy to talk about this stuff and bounce ideas. One of my favorite things to do is someone brings, how can I do this with AI? Can I do this better with AI? And we jam on it pretty quickly. And yeah, thanks for bringing up the site, Zev. So there's a big get in touch button there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, go to getmailier.com, reach out to Ryan on LinkedIn. This is needed in the market right now. And, you know, you and I do similar things, but so many companies need help. And this is going to be the haves and have nots of the future. Like, I truly
Yeah.
believe we're on the precipice of the people that are going to use AI are going to go blow out the competition. The people that won't will have to go, back to the, drawing board and figure things out. So would love people to reach out to you, see how Get Mailier can or Mailier can help them. Would love people to reach out to you on LinkedIn. And then any final words, any final advice that you have, for our audience of what they need to be doing now.
Try stuff. Be
Try.
experiment driven. Uh, the only way to to learn about using this technology is doing stuff, trying stuff. There's great resources out there, but that'll only get you so far.
What would you recommend people try? Like, do you have a couple of things that if somebody have not tried in the audience, you should try right now?
Yeah, I'd say pick something once a week. Pick at least one thing that you need to get done that week and try to see if AI can help you do it better. Um, and that could be something as simple as I think start recording your calls. If I were to say one thing, start recording your calls, because once you have a call transcript, you can do so much with that. So you have a call where you discuss some work that needs to get done, give the transcript to AI and have it try to help you start doing that work. Um, that's a good place to start.
A great thing is to automate your note takers. Like, I know a lot of people use note takers and then they never look at that again. But
Yeah,
automating that note taker to go into an AI and give you some things. So a lot of people use note takers. I don't think a lot of people use them well. But Ryan,
agree.
thank you for coming in. We'll definitely try to bring you in again. This is something that everybody needs help with. I want everybody to visit Ryan's profile and go to getmailier.com to figure out how Ryan can help you. And play, be childlike, figure out things. That's the only way to move forward. And this technology is the fastest moving, highest adopted technology in human recorded history. And there's a reason why people like Ryan and I do this for a living, is because this is the need right now. And if you haven't started, you need to start now. Ryan, thank you very much. And hopefully we'll get to have you on again soon.
Thanks, Ed. Really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun.
Bye bye, everybody.
Yeah.